Why does Pokemon actually go up so much? Isn't it just a little bit suspicious that this long Pokemon has been doing this well? Like, surely by now, enough money would have flowed in so then it wouldn't go up a lot in the future. It just seems really weird that every single year we're still seeing these ridiculous returns and it almost seems too good to be true. Well, today we're going to be explaining once and for all why Pokemon actually goes up so much. There's a couple obvious reasons. Deflationary supply, people rip through it, so then therefore there's less of it, so even if the demand drops, then it doesn't matter, right? But then if you dig into the rabbit hole, it gets really deep, and this is where there's so many things that really contribute towards why Pokemon does really well. So as long as these things still stay true in the future, we will continue to see Pokemon do so well and make these almost suspiciously good returns. Now we have 7 things to talk about. Now this video is going to be really long. I realistically don't know how long it's going to be, but I would guess anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. So if you want to break this up in multiple segments, I don't blame you. If you want to, I'm going to have timestamps in the video. So at least maybe you're driving to work or maybe you're just going for a walk or really whatever. So you can just split them through timestamps. That way you don't lose your progress. But this video is going to be long enough and there's no need to realistically waste more time. Let's get into why Pokemon goes up so much still in 2025. Okay, so number 7, a big thing. We're just gonna stir the pot and get right to the meat and potatoes of things. It is not just an investment. It is also collected. And this is something that a lot of people, they forget, right? Because if you love surfing, you will naturally become friends with people who go surfing. If you're a gamer, you will naturally be friends with people who game, right? So if you're investing in Pokemon and you're interested in the market side of things and you just can't stop talking about it, you naturally gravitate towards people who are like-minded, right? So for me, online, in person, card shows, card shops, whatever it may be, I generally gravitate towards people who are really interested in the investing and the market side of it. I find it incredibly fascinating and I really like that side of it. I do like collecting cards that I do enjoy. Got the Bubble Mew, got the Lovebirds and a One Piece card. I love that side of it. But I also really love the market side of it. It fascinates me. So I then gravitate towards those kind of people. So what it does is it puts me in this bubble where I feel like there's only investors. But guess what? If you just look over the curtains and you'll see a whole other audience of other people. You'll see collectors and people who rip packs, and you'll see all these different kinds of people, and it'll really surprise you. Some people will be interested in the business side of it. Some people will be interested in the content creation side of it. Some people will be interested in the drama side of it, like different streamers who end up selling fake packs or the latest scanning pack scam, right? Like everybody has that topic that they really like, and people gravitate towards people who share the same topic. So in the context of Pokemon, for me, I naturally surround myself around people who are fascinated by the market side of it and enjoy that. Because for me, if I'm being honest with you, if I'm talking to somebody and they're talking about master setting a Pokemon set, that's great. Like, that's awesome. But for me, I just naturally click to people who are tapped into the market side of it, right? So what this translates towards this topic is that it feels like everybody's investing, but for so many people, it's all about collecting. Something I don't go to are trade nights. I tried it once and I left 5 minutes later because it just wasn't my group of people, which is perfectly fine. I went to a card show once, looked at all of the booths, and then there was a specific booth. Me and the guy the actual vendor, we just started talking about the Pokemon market. We were just chatting for a good while. So I naturally clicked to that guy. But I'm sure that if you've got somebody who loves vintage and maybe there's a vendor who's selling vintage cards, I'm sure those two people will click. So then those people will naturally think that everybody's collecting vintage, right? Like same with Japanese. If Japanese does really well, Japanese becomes really hot, it's going to feel like everybody wants Japanese when you just look over and you'll see that there's people in every single audience. It just so happens to be that this goes up. So one of those audiences is talking about the market side of things. And this doesn't just go for cards, right? This goes for everything. This goes for boxes as well. A lot of people who keep items sealed, like people say in this day and age, everybody's keeping it sealed, everybody's investing. And there's some truth in that, but there's also a lot of misconceptions, if you will, right? So yes, absolutely, there are lots of people keeping it sealed, but a lot of those people aren't investing in it, right? Just how a lot of people have Pokemon cards, but they're not investing in it, right? So, okay, let's just say Bubble Mew, right? Let me make myself a little bit more clear. I think this Bubble Mew will do really well. I hold one. Bad example. I actually really like the card. I don't care whether it goes up or down. But for me, you can say the same thing. You can say like, oh my goodness, everybody's investing in cards. Have you noticed that everyone has a Pokemon card collection? And it's like, well, no, okay. A lot of people just really like collecting it. It's the same thing as sealed. Oh, everybody has a sealed collection. Everybody's investing in it. Okay, you just mix two things together. Just because they have a sealed collection doesn't mean it's an investment. I know people who have had walls of ETBs from the Sword and Shield era to Mega Evolution. They don't plan on selling it. Maybe eventually they do, but guess what, Sunshine? You can do the same thing with singles. So that is something that's been happening since Pokemon has existed, right? People have collected singles, and now it's just become a trend and people enjoy collecting sealed. So the idea that because you're keeping it sealed, then that means that that's an investment, it doesn't really make sense, because the same argument can be made for singles. Once again, you can say, oh, everybody's collecting singles. Oh, they're clearly investing in it. And it's like, how do you actually know that? I'll tell you what's an investment. Having a stack of prismatic ETBs. I'll tell you what's a personal collection right here. Every single item you see here is for personal collection. There is not an item here I have as an investment. Every single item here you see is personal collection. I like it as a display. I think it looks nice. Deaths and Rivals booster boxes. So if this is personal collection, sorry Sam, I thought you advocate for investing. Yeah, well I do. I have both. I have a sealed collection which isn't even at my house and I don't even think about it. My sealed collection, I haven't seen it. Like, it's probably grown up and has had a wife and kids at this point, because I haven't seen my sealed collection in ages. This is personal collection. All of this is personal collection. So you may look at this and go like, oh my goodness, look at this dirty, naughty little scalper. I don't know why I said that. But this guy, like, why not add naughty to that? Anyways, look at this guy. He's such a scalper. Look at all his sealed product. And it's like, yeah, well, actually, I think it looks great. I love Surging Sparks. I think that UPC looks amazing. You think I'm investing in that UPC? I've been talking mad shit about that UPC for like months now. Do you really think I'm investing in it? No, it's personal collection. Same goes for everything here. It's all personal collection. There's a reason why I have my Pokemon cards in the same room with pop figures or figurines or my watch, chessboard, all these things, because this is all my personal collection. So you may look at this and go like, oh man, look at that naughty scalper. Look at that dirty scalper. He's going to keep that as an investment. And it's like, you actually got the wrong guy. Well, okay, you got the right guy, because I am investing in Pokemon. But you've got the wrong context, because these are personal collection. And this is a very normal thing. Booster boxes. People collect booster boxes. People have been doing it since like Sword and Shield, collecting one of every booster box. And it's just a really nice display. That's what I want to do now. I've really been working. I haven't even been working on sealed, like investing right now. I've just been working on upgrading the display because I love booster boxes. So I want to collect one of every Elite Trainer box. So I'm thinking of doing Sword and Shield and up, or I'm just thinking about doing Scarlet and Violet. I don't really know. I'm still thinking about it, but one of every Scarlet and Violet ETB, and then a booster box. I'll go maybe Scarlet and Violet and above. I don't know if I can be bothered with Sword and Shield. I don't know if it's just too expensive, to be honest. That does not make me a scalper or an investor because of that. That's just like, I know so many people who do that and they just love doing it because it looks sick. So that's one of the points with point number 7, is that it may look like people are investing, but a lot of them just keep it sealed because they enjoy it. It's so cool. What is your favorite set? I know it's Shroud of Fable. So you'd love to keep a Shroud of Fable ETB sealed. That's like the perfect thing to do. That's point number 7, is it may look like a lot of people are investing, but just because people are spending a lot of money, just because people have an item sealed, it doesn't mean that's an investment. You would be surprised how many people just keep it sealed because they love it. Alright, number 6 is that Pokemon does have a couple years of very little growth. So generally, when you invest in something that doesn't move for a good while, you tend to get rewarded, right? So I'm going to completely butcher this because I heard it from a TikTok like 2 years ago, but there's some story about a Chinese farmer where, I'm going to completely butcher this, but basically he has a tree. Now this tree, when you water it, you have to water it every single day and take care of it. Now you don't actually get to see the tree like sprout above like the soil, and you can't check on the roots to make sure it's growing. So you literally have to just trust that you've done everything correctly. And then one day after like 3 years, within like a 2-week period, it'll just sprout up and become this like massive tree, right? And the whole thing is, it's like, I think Chinese, like mythology or something like that. But basically, the whole point is that this Chinese farmer, he waters it every single day, and he shows up every single day, sees absolutely no growth, but then 3 years later he sees a ton of growth, right? It's the exact same thing with Pokemon. Now, with Pokemon, you will see very little growth. Evolving Skies, I've held that. I got that case in like March or April, something like that, and it moved up a bit in price in June. It hasn't done anything since. So it's been half a year, and Evolving Skies hasn't moved. It hasn't gone up in price. It's still the same price it was 6 months ago. Maybe another 6 months go by, maybe another year goes by, and then Evolving Skies will be $3,000 a booster box, $3,500, $4,000 a booster box, $6, $7, $8, $9,000 a booster box. And then people will, they'll think like, oh, maybe I should buy some Evolving Skies. Like, it was at $2,000 for a good while. Seems like it's waking up. It might be not a bad idea to buy it. But the thing is that you may look at that and go like, oh, man, that is so suspicious. This item is up 50%. It just jumped from $2,000 to $3,000 in the span of a month. Man, what a bubble. This is so suspicious. But it's like, okay, but are you going to factor in all of the waiting? Are you going to factor in all of the patience required? Are you going to factor in all of the months of zero growth? Like, are we just going to pretend like that doesn't happen, right? So with the stock market, there are earnings reports every day. There are all these different things happening. When it comes to crypto, never sleeps. There's always regulations and different governments buying into it, and there's always exciting things happening. With Pokemon, it's very different. With Pokemon, you just have to trust. Okay, so like Bubble Mew, for example, right? Now, I'm not investing in Bubble Mew once again, but say I was, right? You would just have to trust that this is going to be more relevant in the future, and people are going to want it more, okay? It may take many, many months, maybe multiple years, for eventually it to pay off. However, you will be rewarded if you hold sealed. I can't guarantee it for singles, but with sealed, you will be rewarded quite heavily. But the reason why is because there are so many months of nothing happening. See, there's a very big difference when you have something that stimulates you every single day, whether it goes up or down like the stock market, and then there's a very big difference between that and just a dead box. Like just nothing. Like Evolving Skies, there's barely any sales for it. Nothing's happening with Evolving Skies right now. The singles aren't doing anything. They're all sidelined. The booster box is sidelined. Nothing is happening with it. It's not fun. See, the thing about the stock market and the thing about crypto is even if it goes down, at least something is happening, right? At least there's something to talk about. At least there's some sort of something going on. The thing about boxes is there's nothing that's going on. It just sits there and accumulates dust. Well, okay, preferably doesn't accumulate dust because then it can make the box dirty and you don't really want that. But there's no stimulation to it. There's nothing interesting. It's just boring. And those items always do the best. The items that's just boring as always do phenomenal. So like, let's just say Deaths and Rivals Build and Battles right here, right? So Deaths and Rivals, I've got however many Build and Battles, I've got however many booster bundles. I'm actually soon going to acquire another booster box, which is great. That's going to bring my number from 8 to 9, which is sweet as. Slowly but surely, every single time an opportunity presents itself, just grab one. So I'm really hyped about that. Really, really excited. So the thing is, in the next 1 or 2 years, these Deaths and Rivals Build and Battles are not going to move up at all. Then sometime, I don't know when, these are going to do really well. So I would be willing to bet from when I bought those a couple months ago to in a couple years, most people would have sold it. Most people wouldn't have had the patience to hold it. Most people would have given up. So then there's a reason why I am going to get rewarded and it's going to do really well. And the reason why is because so many people give up. When it feels like it's dead in the market and nothing is happening, then people tend to sell. And you know what's funny? A lot of people will say like, I'll come back to it later. But the problem is you don't know when it's going to go up. And that's the funny part that I find about Pokemon is you don't know when they're going to go up. Deaths and Rivals Booster Box. This could go up tomorrow. This could go up in 2 years or 3 years. So the funny part is that the only way to guarantee that you have a position in this box is actually just holding it now. That is the only way you can guarantee yourself. So for an item like this, there's no I'm not going to question it at all. Why is a Destined Rivals booster box going to be a $1,000 booster box in the future? When this hits $1,000, I'm going to make a YouTube video about it, and I'm going to have no facial expressions in that video. The reason why is because I'm not going to be surprised one bit. It was obvious. It was not if, it was when. But the thing is that so many people, because it's a when thing, not an if thing, it's boring. See, if is interesting, right? If you invest in AI companies, it's interesting. Will you succeed? If you, and you could do really well with it, you could make tremendous gains. The thing about Pokemon is it's very boring because it's a when thing, right? Nothing's happening right now. If you invest in a new startup company that's got all this projections and all this random shit, right? At least it's interesting because it's an if thing. It's a gamble. It could happen tomorrow. The thing about Pokemon is we all know it's going to go up, but the question is when, and so many people are not willing to wait, and that's why the few will do really well, because they were willing to wait. It's the same thing as the Chinese farmer, where you just do the right thing for X amount of years and then happy days. Now, the beauty about this, compared to the story that I was giving, is that all you need to do is just buy it and hold it. But that's so hard when there's so much mystery. See, humans, we're genetically designed in our DNA to look for patterns. We are supposed to do that from when we were hunter-gatherers to now. We always look for patterns with everything. That's why people say Destined Rivals will do well, because Team Rocket Returns did, and Team Rocket is very popular. See, it's patterns. Why is Destined Rivals going to do better than Stellar Crown? How do you know that? Why is Destined Rivals going to do better than Shroud of Fable? The only way we come to that conclusion is by patterns. It's the same thing as driving. When you drive, this is such a random example, but when you drive on the motorway, if you see a car in front of you on the motorway, you're going like, say, 110, right? At least in Australia. For Americans, I think you guys go like 70 miles an hour. When you see the car in front of you, the back of it is all smashed up and crunched up, you're immediately thinking in your mind, this person has no idea how to drive and they got into some sort of accident, I'm going to go in a different lane, right? That is immediately what everybody thinks. When somebody's car has some sort of damage, you immediately pull back a bit, right? Because you're looking for patterns. I don't know what that has to do with Pokemon. It actually has nothing to do with it, but I just felt like bringing that up. So here we are. The same thing goes for this. The only reason that we pick out certain things is we're looking for patterns. So when the human mind can't look for patterns, what happens is it scrambles. So the same thing goes here with Destined Rivals. There's no pattern on when this will go up. How do you know that? How it's subject to certain reprints. Pokemon can do certain things where they extend its lifetime, like they did with XY Evolutions, where it was still in print, I believe, for like 4 years after it released. There's so many different factors that I can bring in. Now, we have a rough gist of it, like it's going to be in roughly 2 years. We don't fully know, though. And you know what's funny about this is that no one could have predicted that Destined Rivals was going to go from $250 a booster box to $400 2 months or 1 month after release. Literally, nobody could have predicted that. Nobody. Nobody could have predicted that Destined Rivals was going to practically double from release to now. That's the thing that shits humans. That's the thing that shits us, is when we can't find a pattern for something, we just scramble. But when we can't look for patterns, we scramble. So that's why people sell. It's a very complicated explanation. I told you, this video is going to be a very long video, because it's not as simple as just, it's hard to hold it because it takes time for it to go up, right? It's like, okay, yeah, but that happens with stocks, and stocks averages 8% a year. It's still difficult to hold stocks, but it averages 8% a year, versus this, it averages like 50% a year. So what's the difference, right? So I hope that kind of explains it on a more deeper level, where it actually makes sense. It's the humans looking for patterns, and when we can't find patterns, we scramble. So yeah, anyways. Okay, so number 5 is that most people panic sell once they are up a very small amount. Now, generally with booster boxes, the history of it is that it would be like $100, okay? But the problem is that it takes so long. When I say so long, I mean years, like literally years, for a booster box to go from $100 to $200. And even if it's out of rotation, even if it hasn't received reprints in a couple of years, it takes so long. And you want to know why? Because so many people are in it just to make 30%. That guy wants a 30% return. That guy wants a 40% return. That guy has 100 cases. He invested 60 grand, however many 100 cases equals to when there's $60, $100 a booster box. That guy has invested 60 grand, so he doesn't care if he makes a 20% return. This guy wants an 80% return. The thing is that once people are up, they immediately think about selling. It's the first thing. People immediately think, should I sell? And it's like, hold up. Let's just say OP13, right? This is a good example because this just went up a crap ton. I would love to use Pokemon as an example, but I apologize. Pokemon is getting absolutely clapped right now. So let's use something that is absolutely going up a lot. So OP13. OP13 is a box that has done ridiculous gains. You could have bought cases of this guy for $1,500. Yeah, about $1,500. Now those cases are worth like 3.5K. So within the span of like 2-ish months from when you pre-ordered to now, it is up, you're up over 100%. So your question is, should you sell? Now I have 2 cases of this. Now a case has 12 boxes. So each case is worth like 3,500, like I said. Well, actually locally it's worth about 4K. So for me, I'm well over 100%. I'm well over that territory, right? So for me, it takes a lot of discipline to hold it. I am going to hold it, but for me, it takes a lot of discipline to hold it. And the reason is because it's like, I've made that 2x. Once people make that 2x, for them, it's like, all right, yeah, I'm happy, I'm done, right? But there's a reason why Pokemon does really well. Number one, because it takes forever to go up. But the reason why it takes forever to go up is because so many people sell once they're up 30, 40, 50%. Very few people actually make it past a 2x on their money. And better yet, very few people make it past a 2x on their money when they made 50% really quick, and then the other 50% took a while. So let's just say you bought a $1,000 booster box for, well, $1,000, and then it goes up to $1,500, and let's just say it stagnates at $1,500 for a year. Can I ask you a question? Do you think you would have stomached holding it for a year being up 50%? More than likely, you'd hold 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And on the 4th month, you thought, far out, whatever. Okay, I'm just going to sell it. I made a 50% return. I'm happy. So people struggle to sell when you're down. And the reason why is because people can't accept the fact that they've lost money. People can't accept the fact that they have to take a loss. The difficulty is holding it when you're up. That is the difficulty. When you turn $1,000 and then within a week it goes up 50% and then for a year it does nothing, you really start to lose hope. Same with Evolving Skies. Now, I haven't lost hope with Evolving Skies. I don't really care. I bought Evolving Skies booster box case. So I bought it for about 11K USD. So then it jumped up to about $19,000 locally. I got offered $20,000 in my case. I said no, but confirmed sales were about $19,000. So I was up $8,000 within like 1.5 months. Okay, it was a very short period of time. So I was really happy. I didn't sell it obviously, but I was really happy because I was thinking like, great, this is awesome. But I'm seeing the bigger picture. I'm seeing that as my house deposit in the future. I'm seeing that as, I suppose, like 10,000 smart meals, something like that. Yeah, like 10,000 smart meals. I'm seeing that as something that is going to take me to the next level, right? Well, okay, not really. It's just going to help me get there, but it's not going to take me there. But anyways, for me, it's very tempting to sell it. Now, well, once again, I'm not going to, there's always different reasons why. But in this scenario, it's tempting to sell it. And the reason why is because I was up and then it didn't really move for a couple months. Now, granted, it did go down, so it does kind of suck. Locally, I still am up a couple $1,000s on it. In Australia, there's like barely any of them. So, technically I'm up a little bit, like a couple $1,000s in Australia. But I don't really care that it's down because I had no intention of selling it. Anyways, but the point is that then for a couple months, I was up like $8,000. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to hold it. Like, I'm up $8,000. I'm holding to the moon. But what happens when a couple months go by and it hasn't moved? And then it slightly goes down a bit. And you go like, oh, man, why is this thing going down? Okay, maybe I should sell. I'm still up $7,000. Goes a little bit lower. Okay, I'm down $6,000. Boom, I secured it. So does that make sense on why so little people make it past the 100% return? And I might make a whole video just dedicated towards how almost nobody makes it past 100%. And when I say past 100%, I mean that you buy a box for $1,000, it goes to $2,000 and stagnates for a year. Team Up. Team Up went from $600 a booster box to $2,000 a booster box, and it stagnated at $2,000 for a long time. I want to say 16, 18 months. Longer. I want to say longer. I can't quite confirm that, and I can't be bothered searching it up. So it's about that range. Anywhere from 1.5 years to 2 years. It was some long ass time like that. But what happened was, if you were able to hold being up like over 3x on your money, then you would be rewarded by it heavily going up a lot in the future. That's the thing about investing in Pokemon, is that you are investing with a lot of people who aren't really like traditional investors, if you will. A lot of people are, you're giving it a crack at Pokemon, but they're not really holding shares, they're not holding crypto, they're not holding gold, minerals, and all this other stuff. They're just holding Pokemon. So you're really, like, a lot of investors are amateurs in a sense, right? Alrighty, number 4, I just checked. We're 30 minutes in and I've only said 3 points. That's insane. But number 4 is that a lot of fear lurks in the market. So fear generally lurks when someone who is not interested in the investing space, someone who is not interested in investing something, is really passionate about its downfall, for whatever reason it may be. Now, you might think to yourself that it's just collectors who can't get Pokemon at like retail, and I feel bad for people like that, right? It's sad for people who can't open up packs with their family, or they can't open up packs for whatever reason. They can't enjoy the hobby because stuff is out of stock. I do feel bad for you. I don't feel bad enough where I'm not going to get it at retail. And the reason why is I know I make literally no difference. So I'm just going to give it to you real. I do feel bad for those kind of people, and you do have a right to be frustrated. But at the same time, it's almost like I feel bad, but at the same time, I literally can't change that. So I guess if you can't beat him, you join him. Anyways, this is besides the point. The point is that there's a lot of fear, and you would think to yourself that these people are annoyed because they can't get it at retail, so therefore they are angry at people like you and I, right? Like people who enjoy the investing side of it, the market side of it. And they might think, and that's what you might be thinking. You might be thinking that it's just those people. It's not, and I'll tell you why. It's just hatred. It's just humans being shitty, and I'll tell you why. When the market is quiet and everybody can get as much Pokemon as they want, they hate these people who hate people like you and I, who like the investing side of it. They hate us either way. Like, it has nothing to do with the availability of it, because even when it's available, they hate you. And they hate me, right? And the reason why, like, even, dude, there was a video that I made. Oh, actually, no, not a video that I made. When my channel firstly started, before I found my kind of people, a lot of people, how my channel really started getting, like, kicked off was just people hating on me. Like, every video, the like to dislike ratio was like 50% dislikes. And the reason why was because people just hated my guts. Like, I didn't find the audience of people who are really fascinated with the investing side of it, right? So I don't know what it is. I guess it took a bit of time, but in that meantime, my channel, the first couple of weeks, was just fueled by people who were just leaving these horrible comments. Like, there was some terrible comments left, and I don't really care, for the record. I'm not being like a victim. I literally don't give a shit. But the point is, you might look at that and think like, oh man, these people, they're angry that they can't get it in store, so then they spread fear online that it's going to go to zero. They do that all year round. They do that every single year. It's just hatred. And I'm not giving people shit for Pokemon, okay? If people want to get annoyed at people like me, I don't really care. I have nothing against those people. I am not really the kind of person to just hate people blatantly, so I honestly don't care. In my opinion, life is too short to realistically leave that much hate. So for me, I'll leave it to the pros. For me, I guess I can just keep spreading kindness one video at a time. So the thing is, if you look into crypto posts, right? So whenever there's a post online about Bitcoin being bought up by a government or being accepted, you'll always have people in the comments section saying how Bitcoin is fake money and how it's going to zero and how it's never going to succeed. These people don't collect Bitcoin, okay? These people, they don't want to complete their Bitcoin collection, but you have scalpers rising up the price, okay? It's just natural human nature that people spread fear. I can't put a finger on what it is. I can't put a finger on if it's jealousy. I don't think it is jealousy because in my older videos, I wasn't transparent about how much Pokemon I owned. I only made a video a couple months ago once I had everything fully safe, insured, everything, because I didn't want, I don't know, anybody to like, so I don't want like a mega hacker to find out where I live and just steal my Pokemon. Now that's not really a problem because I don't really keep anything in my house. But before I made a video showing like, hey, this is everything I have a shit ton of skin in the game. Before I made that video, I would make videos where I would have nothing in the background. I'd have like maybe 1 or 2 journey together boxes. So it's probably not a jealousy thing. I don't think it is, because what are they jealous of? Like 2 journey together booster boxes. Like I mean, I'll take that as a compliment if someone is jealous of me showing 2 journey together booster boxes. But before I showed my entire collection, just don't really see where the jealousy would really like, because I didn't really show much on my channel. I more of just talked, right? Until eventually enough people said like, hey, like what do you actually hold? What are you tapped into? And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll make a video just showing off the entire thing, chuck it all away, and then happy days. So basically, my point with this is it's not just collectors. It's not just people who are salty that they can't get out of retail, because people do this all year round, every single year. They just hate on people like you and I. And it's not people who are jealous because I showed that I didn't have anything. Well, I didn't really show much. So it's not jealousy. And then on top of that, it actually has nothing to do with Pokemon. It's just humans. And the reason is because, once again, with Bitcoin, people would, hey, how does it help you in any way to say that Bitcoin is fake money? Whether you like it or not. Like, if you don't like it, you know you can just not comment it. And it's the same thing with Pokemon. This guy commented and said he hopes all people like you and I get bankrupt, and he said he hopes Pokemon print Prismatic Evolution for 10 years. I'm telling you right now, if they printed it for 10 years, that would be really funny. I'm not going to lie, that would be really funny if Pokemon... That would be stupid, but it would be dumb in every single business move possible. That would be so stupid because it would get so old and stale. It would be so weird for them to do that, and it would completely stuff up the card games. That wouldn't even make sense, but it would be really funny. So I'll give them that. But the thing is, these people, what happens is people online are very impressionable, right? The reason why I started my Pokemon channel is because I saw there were so many impressionable people in this hobby, and they were just listening to freaking idiots, man. They would just listening to the dumbest people. Once again, I say this back in my beta days of having a channel, but pre-Pokemon channel, I would argue with people on subreddits where I'd literally be saying like, what are you talking about? Fusion Strike is not going to go up. I literally was arguing with people. I was like, how do you have the balls to say Fusion Strike is not going to go up? I literally tell them like, it has the only evolution other than Eevee that Evolving Skies doesn't have as a VMAX. And the Flareon and Jolteon and Vaporeon, okay, whatever. It has one of the evolutions. It has Gengar, it has Mew, it has Celebi, and I was literally arguing with these people. I'm like, are you actually stupid? You saying that, you're telling people to not invest in Pokemon. You're saying it's going to go to 0, but it's like, I don't want to listen to you. I would rather listen to the guy who has $1 million of Pokemon, and I want to get his perspective. If you get 2 people in a room, the guy who has $1 million of Pokemon, and the guy has no money in Pokemon, he says it's going to go to 0, I guarantee you, the $1 million guy is going to slam the other guy with 1 million arguments, 1 million different points. You can see the dynamic of people who don't hold it and do hold it. So anyways, the point is that there's a lot of fear that lurks, and there's a lot of impressionable people who will follow these people. So think about it. If you see a post about Prismatic Evolutions, and Prismatic Evolutions, let's just say it's a post about how it might be a good investment or really whatever. If the entire comment section is saying how it's going to go to 0, it's never going to do well, and then people add some buzzwords like investors don't understand this, people will learn it the hard way, this is what they don't get, shit like that, then it gets to people's head eventually, right? It only takes enough amount of comments to get to people's head, right? So that stuff will never get to my head because I've been in this industry for a good while, and I can see as people just comment and the same thing. So with Pokemon, I'll just quickly say this, and then I'll say something else, and then I'll get to the next point. Enough comments of people saying like it's going to 0, it gets to people's head, and then they think like, oh man, all right, I guess Pokemon isn't worth investing in. And then you have a bunch of people where there's so much fear spread online about it. I mean, if you talk about Pokemon investing anywhere, any subreddit, any community where it's not dedicated investing, people immediately hate your guts. People immediately say like, this is what investors don't get. Like, this is one of my favorite things that someone said. And I actually fell for this, which was hilarious. I don't know how I even did. But anyways, this was a couple of years ago. This person commented, I used to be really invested in Crown Zenith. Like, I mean, we're talking like literally like, honestly, it wasn't even that much. It was only a couple thousand worth at the time. But now if I was holding it, it would be worth in like the tens and like multi 10,000s. So it does kind of suck. But I sold all of my Crown Zenith, and I'm going to use myself as an example, and I really like using myself as an example for the reason that at least, like, there's no beating around the bush. I know that I'm not bullshitting the story because, like, or I didn't, like, I don't know, like, make it up for whatever reason, because, like, it's my story. I saw a comment online. One comment affected my entire investing. One comment in a subreddit. This person said, this was when Crown Zenith was, like, $3 or $4 a pack. This person said that investors aren't going to understand, and they're going to learn the hard way, that people open up Crown Zenith because it's cheap. And people wouldn't open up Crown Zenith if it was an expensive booster pack. People only open up Crown Zenith because it's cheaper than everything else. Crown Zenith is one of the best selling sets for all rip and shippers. You ask anybody who does rip and shippers, it is one of the best selling packs. People desperately need it. People are always wanting to buy it. They are always getting more desperate and buying it more and more. When that post was made, Crown Zenith was about $3 a booster pack. Now it's $15 a booster pack. Still think about it to this day. It was a fantastic lesson. I saw that comment, and then it got a crap ton of upvotes, and then a bunch of people replied to it saying, like, I know, right? Investors are going to get burned. They're going to lose all this money. I saw that, and I was like, crap. The collectors have spoken, because clearly they know everything. Because clearly they are very tapped into the investing space. Clearly, they study it just as much as I do. And clearly, they know more. Or maybe they actually have no idea what they're talking about, which is fine. They don't have to, but then don't act, remember? Don't act like you actually know what you're talking about, right? So in certain fields, if you ask me what I think about tennis, or if you ask me what I think about F1 racing, I have no comment because I have no idea. So it's the equivalent of where if someone is not going to be tapped into the investing space, that's fine, but you don't need to act like you know what you're talking about. But the problem is enough people do act like they know what they're talking about, and then it gets to people's head, just like how it did for me, and I guarantee you there's tons of people just like me, who thought like, oh crap, okay, the collectors have spoken, they are not buying Prismatic Evolutions, and it is going straight to MSRP. They've restocked ETP so many times. They've restocked booster bundles so many times. I can't wait. Dude, Prismatic Evolutions, they pre-print it so much. It's not even halfway of going under MSRP. It would have to go down like 52, 53, 54% to go to MSRP. The MSRP for booster bundles, I believe it's $24 in the States, about that. They're like $55. So is it people actually know what they're talking about, or they're just spreading fear for whatever reason? I literally don't know the reason. Once again, it's not jealousy. We know that. Once again, it's not hatred towards not it being available because they say it all year round, even when Crown Zenith was $3 a pack. It's I don't know what the reason is. I realistically have no idea. But then nonetheless, there's a lot of people who spread a lot of negativity online, and then it gets to people's head. The biggest thing that is spread around a lot that scares people to bits, which I won't lie, these people are doing a service, because if they switched it around and then said everything's going to the moon, I'm buying up everything, things wouldn't go up as much because everybody's tapped into it, right? The reason why Pokemon investing does so well is because there's so much fear, because there's all these different factors, right? But it's like, I will say these people are actually doing us a service, because by them leaving these comments, they're actually scaring away a lot of people from investing. So this is basically how I roll with Pokemon investing. I want me to do really well, and I want everybody watching. If you're watching my videos, you guys are my #1 priority whenever it comes to things going up. This is why I don't gatekeep any information. I will never do a bullshit course. I will never do a paid subscription. I will never do some sort of paywall where you have to pay me and then you get to see all my knowledge, my infinite knowledge whenever it comes to Pokemon investing. Okay, this is why I don't gatekeep any of this. Okay, this is why I just spill all the beans on my YouTube channel and I just say everything I want to say. And the reason why is because you guys are my number one priority. I'm gonna be real with you. For anyone who doesn't watch my videos, I don't care what they do with Pokemon, okay? So if people want to invest in the shittiest things, if they want to fire sell, I don't care. But the second people are commenting or they say, hey, I'm subscribed to your channel, or they are like, it's almost like I want these people to do well. So it's like, that's why I started a YouTube channel. And the reason why I started it is because I saw there was so much bullcrap in this industry. So I thought like, nah, I gotta help at least fix this up a bit, right? There's a lot of misconceptions. The biggest misconception I hear is that they're printing more today than they were yesterday. So then therefore it's not gonna go up. And I don't even bother breaking it down anymore. Whenever someone comments that, I just say, hey buddy, they said the exact same thing for Sword Shield. And they said the exact same thing for Scarlet Violet. They're going to say the same thing about Mega Evolution, okay? So, and I wasn't in the hobby when Sun and Moon came out, but that's what I hear. I hear that it's the same thing for that. I also hear that people said the same thing for X and Y. And I also hear that people said for Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I found a forum online of 2012, 2000 and whatever, that around that range. And this guy was saying that, he was saying like, will Black and White go up like vintage boxes have, right? Like, will they go up? And a bunch of people in this forum were saying like, nah, it's not going to go up. It gets printed way more than older sets. Dude, even back then people were asking it and they were being shut down. Then you get to X and Y, no. Sun and Moon, no. Like, you have to have the balls of steel to go against a 30-year wave. Every single booster box make these phenomenal games. Like, you have to have the biggest balls to go ahead and say, nah, it ends here. Even though every single time someone says that, my reply is, hey buddy, they said the exact same thing for every single era in the last 5. They said the same thing for Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon, X and Y, Black and White. So fear scares a lot of people away from investing, which means that there's less competition. You got to remember, if you and I are investing in the same item, we are competition. We are competing against the same item, right? So we are competing against each other because we're holding the same item. So there's less competition. Now for me, there's enough meat on the bone going around for everybody. What I would like to do is make videos where we can all improve, we can all discuss things. So when people watch my channel and they say, hey, should I sell this ETB and buy this? At least I can know that I try to help them, giving them my advice. At least I can know that there's a couple people that comment asking for my advice, and that makes it all worth it. The reason why I made a YouTube channel is not that I can be another faceless YouTuber who talks about prismatic evolutions and decimals every single video. It's not so that I can talk about the same scams that 20 other YouTubers talk about. The reason why I started this channel is to have an authentic, to be authentic and to straighten things up a bit, making entertaining content, cracking jokes, because that's just the person I am. But at the same time, straightening things up a bit and actually growing a pair of balls. A lot of people aren't willing to say things, and I'll tell you why. When you talk negatively about a product, you have a crap ton of people who just hate on you completely, right? So when you see YouTubers that talk positively about everything, do not watch them. And the reason why is because they know that they will face the repercussions of when someone talks negatively about an item. Same thing with Journey Together. Would I do better if I talked about Journey Together, or would I do better if I talked about Prismatic, right? So obviously I talk about both of them, but when I make these really interesting plays like Black Ball and White Flare and a Chinese Latios, and I buy an item like Journey Together booster boxes, what happens is a lot of people won't follow me because they disagree with that. The safest route to go is make Prismatic Evolutions and Decimals content and just pump it out. That's not what I do, because on this channel, my reasoning of making this channel was because I saw so much bullcrap in this space, and I was sick and tired of replying to people on Reddit and fixing people up and saying like, mate, you have no idea what you're talking about. Everything you just said, people have said for a good while. People have always been saying this and it's not true and XYZ. So yeah, the point is that a lot of people just spread so much fear. Number 3. Rip and shippers. This collectibles have a couple issues. those issues get fixed, the investing side of it could get dangerous. So stocks is something you can buy 100 grand worth overnight. Pokemon, because it's very inconvenient, it actually annoys a lot of people and they just decide not to. Think about it. How many people would invest $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, or 100K, whatever? How many people would invest in large amounts of Pokemon, but they didn't do it because it was too inconvenient? Because you have to buy it, you have to receive it, you have to make sure it's fine, you have to store it somewhere. So all these inconveniences make Pokemon go up because it takes another level of dedication and time to invest in it. If you have $1 billion, you're going to bother with investing in this? If you have $100 million, you're going to bother buying this? Oh, hell no. Oh my goodness, you buy 20 boxes, one arrives damaged. Okay, cool. Moving it around is going to be really annoying. So if you have a couple $1 million worth, I hope you have a team to move that because that's quite valuable. You don't want that to get stolen. So you've got to also get it insured. So you have to have someone to store it. You're going to have to get help moving it around. You know what? After all, you're going to have to get insured if I didn't say it already. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to stick to my stocks that average 7% a year. I have $100 million in stocks, so I'm getting $7 million a year. This Pokemon stuff is not worth it. So all these inconveniences actually help it, like Pokemon, like selling, right? Selling is really annoying. You have to deal with so many annoying people, right? When I sell Pokemon, I get so many time wasters. Like we all get time wasted, right? Like if you ever want to liquidate an item or really whatever, it's just annoying. Okay, so the selling side of it is so annoying. A lot of people don't even bother. Think about it. Destined Rivals. Think about it. Think that, first of all, how many people didn't sell their boost box because they just don't have the time? But also, think about how much of an inconvenience it is. Because something that I would do with something like, I don't know, whatever, some item, sometimes I wouldn't be against buying an item, selling it at the high because I'm predicting it's going to get reprinted and it's going to go down. But I just can't be bothered. I literally can't be bothered. Like, you can do that with Bitcoin. You can do that as a stock market because you can just immediately sell it. You can't do that with collectibles. Like, okay, say Bubble Mew, right? Say I bought Bubble Mew for $1,000. It goes to $2,000. And I'm thinking, you know what? The Pokemon market's actually really in a bubble right now. Bubble. This card is going to go down to $1,000 or $1,500. Dude, I can't be bothered making a listing, selling it, shipping it out, and then when it goes down, replenish my inventory by buying another one, and then I get to keep like $300 profit. No, I can't be bothered. But I would do it if Pokemon was a liquid asset that you could sell immediately. So all those inconveniences help Pokemon actually go up, funnily enough. However, the one convenience that helps Pokemon go up, so inconvenience is a good thing, how is a convenience, the opposite of an inconvenience, also a good thing? Well, that's where we get to ribbon shipping. You see, ribbon shipping is the convenience of opening up booster packs. The faster people open up, the less supply, the more it goes up. The more packs that get opened up, the faster the supply diminishes, which means it goes up more. This is the one thing where you want it to be as convenient as humanly possible. Think about how many people would have been sitting at their couch. How many people would have just been outside or just really whatever, and then they wouldn't have opened a booster pack if they had to go to a physical location. They would have, or maybe they order online, but they have to wait for it to arrive. So it's 3 a.m. at night, they want to open up some packs. Well, if they order it now, then once it arrives, it's 3 business days. So they're not going to really be able to scratch that itch, if you will. And they're not going to have the excitement of opening it up now. So what's the fix for this? Well, the fix is online rip and ships. So rip and ships has fixed this issue that we realistically didn't even know existed. So you know how like in 2015 people said, oh honestly, probably even like 2013, people would always say like, oh, why do people watch people play video games online? These YouTubers, they just live stream it and people watch them play. Man, that's never going to succeed. That's so dumb. And they're wrong, right? We all know how they're wrong. Gaming, streaming, it's a very popular thing. Rip and shipping is the exact same thing. If you told somebody 10 years ago, yeah, dude, one of the biggest new businesses you can do with Pokemon in 10 years' time, it's going to be rip and shipping. So basically, people pay you to open up their pack on stream. not bad. They would look at you like you're an idiot, and they would say like, wow, you are missing. Like if a bug that fed off of eating brains got into your skull, it would starve to death. Like that's what they would tell you. So now we skip to present day, and it's one of the biggest industries you can get into if you want to get into the Pokemon business side of things. So this is just, we can't even fathom how much of an effect this has on the Pokemon market. It's not even funny. To the level where I would argue that there are more packs being ripped on rip and shippers than just everything else. Like, it's actually insane to me how many, like, I seriously, I actually recommend you to go on a rip and shipping stream. Like, they open up packs. Like, they are literally going to get shot in the... Okay, I don't think I can actually say that. Okay, let's just say someone is going to... No, I don't really want to get demonetized. Okay, these people open up packs like their life depends on it. Like, it literally looks like... Have you guys seen videos of, like, really, really smart people, like, solve a Rubik's Cube really quick, and they, like, flash their hands really quick, like, shake it, and then, like, slap it on the table? Yeah, that's like rip and shippers. Like, I kid you not, when they open up packs, do I have a booster pack here so I can show? Like, I don't have that skill. I'm not worthy of being a rip and shipper. They open up packs so quickly. Holy crap, they open up packs as if someone is going to steal it from them if they don't open up 100 packs per second. Like, it's insane. I literally don't have any packs here, so I can't represent it. So I just realized I actually do have a booster pack here, so we're just going to take a quick break and open up this pack. I checked and we're over 1 hour in recording, so yeah, anyways, we have a Macca's pack. I believe the chase is a Dragonite, so it's going to be so hard to open up this pack with... Oh, I just realized I just spoiled it. Why does it show... Oh my goodness, this is so stupid. But it literally shows it. Holy crap. Alright. This is... You know how hard this is? Oh my goodness. Alright. So we got the Roaring Moon. This is the... Is this a Cosmos? No, this isn't. This is... I don't know what rarity this is called. Is it a glass hollow? It's something like that. I don't know. It's a really nice hollow pattern. That's really nice. But anyways, what's the next guy that we have? Oh, Umbreon. Holy crap. Oh my goodness. I was literally going to say, I hope I pull this Umbreon. I'm actually going to display that. That's really nice. What's this? Jigglypuff. And then that thing, whatever the heck that is. Holy crap, dude, there's an Umbreon here. No way. I was hoping I was going to say, I hope I pull this. Holy crap, man, I'm over the moon right now. I pulled a Moonbreon. Let's go. I'm not going to lie. Now I kind of want to put in the title, like, plus I pulled a Moonbreon. I feel like that would be really funny if I did that. And then people are thinking, like, there's no way this guy pulled a Moonbreon. And it's just this. Bro, let's freaking go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to... I don't know, I'm thinking I might just display it here with my Evolving Skies booster box. Well, it's actually not an Evolving Skies booster box. It's actually, for anyone who doesn't know, it's actually just a little box. There's no way I'm keeping an Evolving Skies booster box in my house. Heck no. But yeah, there we go. We got the Umbreon there. That is actually so cool. I'm so happy I pulled that. Anyways, back to the video. So, Ribbon Shippers open up packs to an insane level where you've got the thing is, they're very hyper in their videos. They're very excited, and most of the time when people open up packs, they usually open up like a little bit and then they kind of give up. But a lot of the time, this is the thing that with opening up, usually, have you noticed that usually when you open up packs with your friends, usually you open up like way more than if you open up packs on your own. So when you open up packs on your own, it's fun, it's great, but it's definitely not as exciting with friends. And the reason why is because you want to pull something fun, you want to pull something exciting, but also people feel more hyped up and they feel more excited when other people get something good, right? So let's just say your mate just pulls a Bubble Mew. Well, you also want to pull a Bubble Mew, so you'll just open up some packs. But here's the thing, imagine that, but you're online, someone pulls something insane, everybody's going crazy, the person who's doing the rip and shipping, they're hyping the person up. Oh my goodness, Jerry, you pulled this. Jerry, you're the GOAT. This guy, he always pulls the best stuff. This guy's the man. He's the guy, right? But the thing is, it inspires you to then spend more money, open up more packs. So what happens is, then someone will pull something good, so everybody gets motivated to open up more packs. And then that then eventually someone pulls something good, and then that motivates people to open up more packs, and so on and so forth. And it becomes like this cycle of just people constantly opening up packs. So number 3 is rip and chippers. This is something no one has, not no one, but a lot of people don't really consider, because they always think like, oh, my goodness, Pokemon, it's averaging so much, it's going up way more than it's normally supposed to. This is not right. And it's like, okay, but you do understand there's also a correlation with rip and chippers becoming wildly more popular in the last 12 months. It's definitely something to think about. And number 2, this is something that no one really talks about. Well, okay, everybody talks about, but I guess like they just say the same thing and don't really think about it on a deeper level. It's deflationary. When an item is deflationary, it can lose more demand, but it doesn't matter because the supply diminishes. Now, what I mean by this is Lego. Lego is a fantastic example. So, with Lego, there's this Lego minifigure called a Chrome Black Darth Vader. There's only 10,000 of it. It's the coolest minifigure ever. I owned one. I bought it for like $150, and then it jumped up to like $500. At the time, I was like 15, 14. So it's a pretty decent amount of money. So I was pretty happy about that. And I sold it once it was like $500, and I was over the moon. However, with this Chrome Black Darth Vader, the supply was exactly the same as yesterday. It did not change one bit. All that changed was the demand. So it went from $150 to $500. However, what happened when demand pulled back? It went down in price. And this goes for everything. Labubus. Labubus they are a Ponzi scheme, because they have to get more demand externally to sustain the current prices and go up. However, with Pokemon, because it's deflationary, it's a different story. And this is why I don't recommend you guys invest in singles. You see, every single you see here is just something that I enjoy. It's just something that I like to collect. Whether it be a Luffy SP, whether it be an SIR, Bubble Mew, whether it be Latios, whatever it may be. Well, now we've got Umbreon to the collection as well. It is for the personal collection. I don't care about it, whether the value happens to it. They could all go to $1 tomorrow. I don't really care. Now, when it comes to sealed product, I invest in sealed product because the supply is deflationary. I don't invest in it because I love Pokemon. I don't invest in it because I think that One Piece is going to do really well, or Pokemon is going to do really well. That's where we get singles. I love the Bubble Mew. I think it's a really nice card. I love the Luffy, the Gear 5 Luffy. I think it's great, right? So I have those as my personal collection. However, I don't invest in Pokemon boxes because I'm thinking that's the largest IP. I invest in it because it's deflationary. That's why I invest in it. See, why do comic books do so well, the old ones? Is it because once you're done reading it, you shred up the comic book and then you're done with it? No. Is it because there's a crazy amount of demand for the first Superman comic book? No. It's because there's barely any of it. So it doesn't need much demand. All it needs is a couple billionaires that will say, yeah, I'll take one. And that's all it needs. Because a couple have survived. They're so old that they went through perhaps different wars. How many house fires engulfed comic books and it wasn't worth grabbing them because they were worth 2 cents? All these different things, after decades and decades and decades, allowed these really old comic books to be so expensive. And the reason why is because the supply diminished. I'm sure Superman comic books would be really expensive, even if even if every single copy survived today, but not to the price that it is, being in the millions and millions of dollars. The reason why it's that price is because the supply diminished. Whether it got burnt, lost, whatever. For Pokemon cards, the modern way of that happening are people opening up packs. Let's just say someone asks you, hey man, would you prefer an Evolving Skies booster box or, I don't know, whatever. Is it Dark Emperors or something like that? Or Emerging Powers? It's something like that where it's like a really crappy black and white booster box and it's known as like the worst set of evolved Pokemon. It's like, would you rather Evolving Skies or that? And in this mysterious world, they are the same price. Well, you would choose Evolving Skies because it's better. Evolving Skies sells more. There are far more sales of Evolving Skies than the other crappy black and white set. I forgot what it's called. However, the crappy black and white set is far more expensive. Why is that? It's regarded as the worst set of Pokemon. No one likes it. No one would pick it over Evolving Skies if they were the same price. The only thing that's different is the supply. And that's just years and years of it being opened up. Good or bad set, just years and years of being opened up. And this is what happens with Pokemon is it doesn't need more desirability. And that's something that a lot of people just don't get a grasp on. They don't fully understand. And it's things like, okay, let's just say join together booster boxes, right? I don't know if they're gonna short print them. Even if they do print it again, it's not the end of the world. But let's just say it doesn't get short printed, right? In this world, if Journey Together enhanced boxes don't get short printed, so in this world, just say Journey Together boxes don't get reprinted, there is a chance that Journey Together is going to be the top 5 or top 3 most expensive boxes of Scarlet and Violet. The reason why is because if it didn't get a single reprint, its initial print wave was nothing. It would have been the lowest printed Scarlet and Violet booster box. Twilight Masquerade, all these other booster boxes, they had way more. Journey Together, the initial print wave of enhanced boxes, it was barely available. There was barely any of it. And a lot of it got ripped. Right? The thing about a lot of sets is that there's so many Scarlet and Violet sets where their print was like Twilight Masquerade was a healthy amount. There was plenty going around. Journey Together, there was barely any going around. There was almost none of it available, and a lot of it got ripped while that Lily and Clefairy was extremely expensive. So there is actually a really good chance in the future, Journey Together, and I don't want this to just be me shilling Journey Together, and I don't want it to be something where you just end up, buying Journey Together because of this, and then maybe it gets reprinted, right? This is just an example of, say it doesn't get reprinted. If it doesn't get reprinted, it'll be one of the most expensive booster boxes. And it will never click for people. People will never understand why is it more expensive. It'll just never click. People will never be able to understand why is this booster box one of the most expensive booster boxes? And the reason why is because it bought barely any printing. Its supply is microscopic. It would be one of the rarest modern booster boxes because no one was holding it. People ripped it while it was worth it and it didn't receive a second print wave. It would be one of the rarest booster boxes. It would be one of those items like Rebel Clash, whereas it's actually good, unlike Rebel Clash. See, Journey Together actually has trainer Pokemon, it has popular Pokemon, and it has promo inside. So it's like Rebel Clash, but if Rebel Clash was actually good, right? That's what Journey Together is going to be. And then it's never going to click for people. It would be one of those things in this mysterious world where it never gets reprinted, where people will just never be able to understand why is it more expensive than these other booster boxes. And the reason is because the supply is so small. So yeah, once again, I don't want to speculate that it's not going to get reprinted. For me, I have 15 booster boxes. I paid pennies on the dollar for them, dude. $130, $140, $150, around that range. I paid like nothing for them. Like not even $150, maybe like $145. It was like nothing. So for me, I have barely any skin in the game. I'm not worried about them. I have 15 booster boxes. I'm just letting them grow. I don't really mind. If they get reprinted, okay, whatever. I don't really care. I still think it's a really good set, and I still think it'll do well in the future. However, nonetheless, the reason why in this mysterious world and why it's so expensive is because it is so rare. It would be one of the rarest modern booster boxes. And everybody and their mum would say like, oh my goodness, I had so many of them and now I don't have any. Oh, if only I kept my 3 or if only I kept my 4. Everybody's gonna have a story on how they used to have it, but they didn't hold it because it just made no logical sense. You would have to be a madman to hold it since release to now seeing very little growth. Yeah. Anyways, the final thing. So now that we've explained deflationary, the final thing is that any money made in this industry generally floats around. In this industry, it usually doesn't leave. So if someone sells an item, this is something that people don't understand, is if something sells an item, if an item sells, it's not a bad thing. So if someone decides they want to sell their, this booster box or that booster box, it's not a bad thing. The reason is because most of the time that money floats around the Pokemon market. So I'm a great example, right? Bubble Mew. Do you think I clocked in more shifts at Papa John's and decided to work on the weekends and, really get those numbers up? Maybe I cracked a couple jokes to get some extra tips and I really put in the work? No. I just sold a booster box. I just bought this because I like the card. I was sick and tired of the card going up and I'd procrastinate buying it because I think, oh, well, whatever, I'll just buy it when it goes cheap. And I just never thought about it. So one day I was like, all right, cut the bullshit. The card's gone down. This is a good opportunity. I'm not buying at the very top. This card's gone down. I'm going to buy it now, right? So the thing is that me selling another box does nothing to the market because I put it right back in, and it goes for everything here. Most of this stuff you see here is funded by me making older investments, selling it, and buying these. The only time we ever have an issue in the market is when somebody sells and they pull that money away from the market. It bleeds the market because it's not being moved around in the market, whether it be singles, slabs, whatever, sealed. Where we have an issue is when people sell Pokemon to buy things like One Piece. That's where we have an issue. Have you seen how dead the market is lately? Have you seen how Gengachu is down like 70%? Have you seen how so many items are actually doing horrible right now? Have you noticed how Paldean Fates, the Paldean Fates Blooming Waters 2.0 booster boxes things are they're like 115 on TCG Player? 115? It has a Bubble Mew. It's a fantastic set. Why is that collection box 115? That's insane. The reason why is because so much money has been stripped away from this market that so many items are so cheap. Have you noticed that a lot of things that were just doing really good are actually tanking so horrible? Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies had always pulled back and it always stagnated. But now it's going down. There are some items that are doing really bad. And the reason why is because money is actually being taken away from the market. You see, when you buy Fusion Strike for $1,000 a booster box, you sell for $2,000 and buy that card you've always wanted. You do understand the guy buying it for $2,000 is going to sell for $4,000 and buy the card he always wanted. And the person who's going to buy for $4,000 is going to then sell their... Okay, actually here, let me make it a little bit more simple here. So let's do this. So, I have always wanted this Bubble Mew. So I buy this Latios. This Latios doubles in price to $1,500. I sell this Latios for $1,500. I buy this Bubble Mew. The guy who sold the Bubble Mew has always wanted this Latios. So he sells his Bubble Mew to buy the Latios. Money is always moving. And this is how it works. I don't want Fusion Strike Booster Box. I want Desert Rivals. Well, the guy who caught a Desert Rivals Booster Box reprint, he got it at a good price. He wants something a little older. He wants to de-risk. So he sells his Desert Rivals to buy Fusion Strike. Do you notice how both people are exiting their position? They're selling, causing selling pressure, but at the same time buying something. So it cancels it out, which is like incredibly healthy for the market, like to a level you can't even comprehend. When that little money exits the market does really well. We only have a problem when money starts to leave the market. That's where you have a problem. So the point of this is that this rarely happens. In fact, a lot of the time, people will take money out, but then they'll come right back in. Do you notice how most people entering the market in this day and age aren't entering it for the first time? Everybody has a history. Whether they got in when they were kids, 2020, 2022, 24, 25, whatever. They always have some sort of history, how they're just getting back into the hobby. The reason why is you may sell your collection and you may leave Pokemon, but Pokemon doesn't leave you. You will come back to it eventually and you will enjoy the hobby again. That happens whether you're 20, 25, 30, 40, 50. Maybe your kids like Pokemon and then it sparks this new joy and then you collect it with your kids 20 years later after collecting it. Who knows? How many stories of that? I mean, what is that YouTuber's name? Papa Pika? Something like that? Papa Pika? Something like that. The dude's story, if I'm not correct, if you're watching this video, hello, I literally doubt this dude's watching this video. But if he is, this dude's story is that he used to collect Pokemon, I think he did, and he stopped, but then his kids really loved Pokemon, like many years later, loved Pokemon, so then he got back into it. I think it's some story like that, right? That's incredibly popular, where their kids discover Pokemon and then they get reignited. So the point is that even if people leave the hobby, it's very temporary. Because a lot of time they come right back into the hobby. So that's the thing. A big reason why Pokemon does really well is because a lot of people who are in the hobby, generally money circulates around and it flows around. The rare scenarios where it does bleed outside of the market, generally they do boomerang back. But yeah, oh, this video is about one and a bit hours, 1 hour and 10-ish minutes long. So thank you for everyone who has stayed this long. I absolutely salute you if you have, but I am so tired. It is 12:12 a.m. If you watched my channel like a long time ago, I would record when it was like 3 a.m. Yeah, now I've become like slightly more of a normal human being. I'm like really far from there, but I'm slightly more normal. So now I get up at more like 8 a.m. rather than like 3 p.m. So I'm a little bit more normal. Once again, I've got a long way to go, but yeah, so it being 12 a.m., I'm absolutely zonked. So I'm going to hit the sack, hit the hay, and yeah, so that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.